I work with someone who is super talented, super hardworking, but because they work so hard and have such high expectations, they're very up and down in the office. They work long and irregular hours and can be off sick quite a bit, making it hard for the rest of us to predict how and when they'll turn up. Have you ever worked with someone like this? How can I work best with them?
Yeah, this is hard. So many people. Yeah, I've worked with lots of people like this. And it's really hard because they're absolute geniuses, but sometimes you also just want consistency. And I don't think you should feel guilty about that. It's just like, particularly with small teams, that the burden does sometimes fall upon others to then, our stress levels then increase when things have fallen off. So I guess, you can work with, and this kind of goes back to one of the earlier questions of like, yes, you can moderate the way you work around people to a certain extent, but and you can put things in place that are conducive to getting great outcomes. But at a certain point, you also need them to come to the party a little bit as well. Because in some ways that can also be really draining for your mental health. So I think it's finding a balance of like protecting yourself while also, modifying your ways of working to get the best out of both outcomes. But they need to come to the party too a little bit.
As as a leader, if you can see this happening in your business, what do you do? Because it's hard to go. I mean, and I think agencies have suffered from this in the past, right? Where there might be some sort of enigmatic personality in the business that, might have even contributed or come up with the ideas for some of your most award-winning work. But then at the same time, may have been the reason for 4 or 5 people leaving, or, an account not going how you wanted it to. Like, how do you tackle that as a leader?
I mean, I personally find this really hard because, I've got a small team. So I don't have that much redundancy built into the business. And I'm sure lots of businesses are like that. If you're a 200-person agency with lots of people being able to hand over, then, there's a little bit more wiggle room there. But when you have a single point of failure and this person becomes that, and that's really hard. So I guess, I do my best to explain to these sorts of people as to like how it affects others. And obviously we'll try and work around their ways of working as much as we can, but at a certain point, if it's actually, causing a lot of other people mental health problems, then we need to obviously prioritize the well-being of those people. So I think it's just about making sure it's clear from both points of view, and that we understand, why and how you prefer to work this way. But, we want to look out for you, because it's also probably not great for their health either. If they're working in this way, it's probably a cycle that doesn't lead anywhere particularly good. Whereas if you can help them see that actually for their benefit and for everyone else's, can we maybe reduce some of the tempo and the pressure on yourself, and while also helping everyone else.
Yeah, it's a tough one. It's because also sometimes I think I've had this conversation with some people where that gets them working, or they believe that way of working is what gets them to their best work. It's very, very challenging.